All right, ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to the Tatum Show. We got a whole bunch of crazy stuff to talk about today. Karmelo Anthony trial. The defense has rested its case, and we have to talk about what the findings are, and it's going to blow your socks off. Lil Boosie, Boosie Boo, used to be my favorite rapper, and then I became a Christian, and I decided that I can't listen too much of that crazy stuff. But Lil Boosie had some interesting things to say about the cover of Madden with Caleb Williams with his fingernails painted like a weirdo. And then also he had a controversy about him having a pool party with no trans people allowed. And for some reason, the internet got a problem with what he had to say, but it's his party. He can make his own decisions. HelloFresh is the dumbest company on planet Earth and the stupidest, most nastiest ad that I've ever seen in my life. Literally making Pride Month about grown men laying on top of each other, if you know what I'm saying. But before we get to all that, we have to talk about the California elections. I think that it was rigged. Donald Trump had something to say about it. He blew up on a reporter, and I think it was rightfully so. Welcome to the Tatum Show.
I want everybody in this room to have that same spirit, that same identity carried in your life.
Make sure that you go through life and find your purpose.
And we don't do this just to get a pat on the back. We do it because we came here to win.
And it starts with you understanding that God has a purpose for you.
This is the time to be more bold than ever before.
We're all Americans at the end of the day, and we should love one another. We should be focused on what's right for our country. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I want to give a special shout out to all the members that have joined the Tatum membership program. Let's put the deputy chiefs on the screen here. Thank you for all the deputy chiefs. This is the top tier. Thank you for your support. I want everybody on here to know if you support me at the deputy chief level or the rookie level, I still love all of you guys the same. I'm incredibly blessed that you can support me at this level. If you have not joined the program, here's a couple of the things that you get if you join. $2.99 is the entry level, then it's $4.99, $8.99, and $49.99. But I appreciate you at any level. Whatever God has put on your heart that you want to help us with, it's all good. If you haven't joined, hit the join button, give it a look, try it out, see if you like it, see if it's worth it, and go from there. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the comments. I want to hear your thoughts because this is about to get jiggy. So let's start with our first story. It's the California election. I think it's appropriate to start with Donald Trump in his interview with NBC. Obviously, he's incredibly frustrated. It looked like he's turning red. He's so mad at these people, rightfully so. But listen to what Donald Trump has to say in part about the California election. Roll the clip.
The election was rigged. It was a dirty election. And it's happening again right now in California.
Presented evidence.
It's happening right now in California. Right now, it's look at what's happening in California.
To that?
It's
the
4
Republicans
days.
are doing well in
California. No, they're not. They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with it.
That's how they count the votes.
You know why they're doing that? Because they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
all
that?
I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not evidence.
And I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But, sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate?
That's how they count the votes in California.
Do you think it's appropriate that they have an election, and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a winner?
State and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging the votes to be counted quickly. That's how they vote in California.
They're crooked, just like you're crooked. Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
Really?
Let's
well,
continue.
You play right into their hands.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid. You play right into their hands with this rap. You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But, Mr. President,
you know why I got that? Because you have no credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd.
You have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk about
your elections in this country. We're like a third world country. Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked, and so is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But, Mr. President,
you're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the rain with you.
I know.
I've sat in the rain with you for an hour, on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what?
Mr. President,
a country can never be great with a dishonest
Listen,
press.
we traveled all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
I think it's incredible how Donald Trump is like still polite to her, even though he's being straight up. Now, let's talk about this election real quick. This is why I think, now I cannot prove it. I'm not saying that it is, but I can see how the suspicion is there. I am suspicious. Think about this for a minute. If you were to try to rig or do trickery in an election, how would you do it? You will need to see the results for the first wave of votes that come in and see how much work you need to do to follow up to get your candidate to win. If you notice, why is it that as the election goes on or the counting goes on, Nithya Raman begins to be more and more and more popular? You would think that the course would be that the candidates that are already as popular at the beginning will fight for popularity throughout the election. How does Nithya Raman is one of the only people that benefited from most of the votes? How? Nobody even know who she is. Nobody really know her name. But if you wanted to rig it, this is what you do. Think about it from the very beginning. Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt. But they could not justify Karen Bass getting 100,000 votes at a time. So they brought in Nithya Raman. Therefore, they've got 3 people in the race. 2 of them, they can divvy the votes in, my opinion. And so what do? They see how the Republicans perform. Karen Bass already has a strong stance. They need the other person to get him out of the runoff. So as the time go on, they go and put more and more votes in there. You don't have to have things signed. You can post-date things with you just writing it on the front of the form. There's no official documentation. There's no chain of custody. None of those things happen in California. So therefore, they linger it, and they linger, and they linger, and they linger, and they try to get the votes that they need to get their candidate to win. If you ask me, I think they have a bank of votes from homeless people. They got all these homeless people out there. They have their identities already. They have everything they need from these people. And they wait and they wait and they wait, and they start dumping these ballots in order to get them across the board. Because if you look at it, all of a sudden, Nithya Raman was getting her head whooped in. She cried the night that she lost. She knew she lost. Then all of a sudden, the votes are in her favor, and she's now ahead of Spencer Pratt by 3,000 votes. This is L.A. with tens of millions of people live in L.A. And you saying, or at least millions of people live in L.A., and you saying she won just by 3,000 votes. It don't make any sense, man. It's crooked, in my opinion. Let's get to a couple news coverage clips. Roll it.
Spencer Pratt's hopes of becoming the next Los Angeles mayor slipping away as the ballots continue to come in. Democrat Nithya Raman has overtaken his second-place spot in the race. She now leads Pratt by a couple of thousand votes. Matt Finn reporting live in the City of Industry, which is where the county ballot processing center is. This has got to be a disappointment for Pratt. Do you know if he believes that he still has the votes out there to gain back second place?
Yeah, John, actually a short while ago, he posted an update. And here in LA County, there's still an estimated 355,000 ballots left to be counted. That processing will happen here in this giant facility. The latest ballot dumps pushed Progressive Councilwoman Nithya Raman past Spencer Pratt by just a few thousand votes. Moments ago, he responded, writing, "Folks, we're dealing with a fraction of a percentage point difference. There's still hundreds of thousands of voters outstanding, and LA officials have given us the next 3 weeks to count. Let's get her done." Now, Mayor Karen Bass's campaign released a statement attacking Raman and labeled Raman Bass's general election opponent, seemingly ruling out a Pratt comeback. A Bass spokesperson writing, "We look forward to winning a contest against an opponent who allows encampments near schools and fights against hiring more cops, yet is MIA on saving Hollywood jobs and fighting back when ICE invades LA." In the governor's race, the AP declared that Democratic candidate Javier Becerra will advance to the general election, Republican Steve Hilton in second, Democrat billionaire Tom Steyer in third, and statewide, there is about 30% of the vote that is still outstanding as well, John.
Don't you find it funny that in most of these races where we're complaining about there being impropriety, the Republicans are always winning first and then they begin to lose? It's never the case where the Republicans are losing and then they begin to creep up, but it just never made it to the point where they will win. It's always a situation where Republicans are either doing well and then in these places where they can mail in the vote, the Republicans always die towards the end. Don't you think it's suspicious? that the election goes south towards the end, right in the nick of time, these ballot dumps favor one or two candidates. It's insane to think that that's not true. And the fact that California does it the way they do it, they leave it open for manipulation, and this is how they continue to have Democrats run the state to the freaking ground. All right, let's get one more clip here.
And the first assistant U.S. attorney in L.A., Bill Asaley, says California has refused to give the federal government its voter rolls and allows first-time voters to use IDs like gym and debit cards. Asaley also writes, California allows third parties to collect and turn in ballots on voters' behalf, a practice known as ballot harvesting with few restrictions. This makes it difficult to track who actually received, completed, and submitted each ballot. Now, Asaley says there are ongoing voter fraud investigations here in Southern California. He points to a recent woman who was arrested for allegedly paying people on Skid Row to register to vote. Bill, Dana.
All right, let's get to the view real quick. I want to display what kind of they had to say about this. I think they're always wrong, but it's good content. Roll the clip.
But I will say, people tend to not trust elections when it takes a real long time to count votes. LA and California in general need to figure out how to do this quicker. Change the laws so you can do it in one day. Florida has a lot of mail-in, and they get their results the same night. It makes people feel like, oh, something's off. But there's not. That's how their rules are.
I feel the exact opposite. I think if someone is taking their time to count the votes, I think if someone is looking at every single thing, because in California, it's the most populous state. We all know that. And they actually have signature verification. So they look at every single signature, and if those signatures do not match what they have on file, they then go back to the person and they say, was this you? And so it does take a long time to be right, to do it well.
Why can Florida do it right in one night, though?
I don't think you can do it when you have 23 million registered voters. It's just not possible. And so
I think
it's 23 million people are not voting. Did you just not look at Nithya Raman and them numbers? Like it's 100,000 here, 150,000 here, 200,000 here. That's nowhere near 23 million. It doesn't matter what the population is. It's how many votes are you tallying. Every other state in the union that's not cheating, they can count their stuff in one night. Why does California take 5 and 6 days? These states that take multiple days, what are they doing? They're trying to see how much they need to overcome in the election, and they add votes. They letting first-time voters use gym memberships. You know how stupid that is, bruh? You know how unverified that is? And then they're claiming illegals aren't voting in the election. Man, I guarantee you they got some system out there where they giving a whole bunch of people addresses and names of dead people and all kind of stuff. They have a whole system going. And they go, hey, run up here, say you this person, and we'll get you fake IDs and everything like that. You only need 10,000 people like that. You don't need 1 million. You need 10,000 people that will vote fraudulently, and you find a way to put their ballots in this ballot box, put a little bit over here, a little bit over here. Then they do the drop, and Nithya Raman is up 100,000. You know, she get 100,000 votes at one time. Or something crazy number like that. Anyway. I beat that dead horse. Shout out to Donald Trump for keeping it real, like a $20 bill. All right, let's get to this controversial case of Karmelo Anthony. As a former police officer, I want you guys to hear me very quickly or very clearly on my take on what has happened so far, right? The prosecution has made their opening statements. The defense has made their opening statements today. Then they're going to make their closing arguments, I believe, tomorrow. However, here is where we're at. The prosecution has made very clear that this was not self-defense and this was murder, that Karmelo Anthony instigated the altercation. He refused to leave the tent. He threatened Austin, and then he took action. The reason that they charge him with premeditated murder is because he said, touch me and see what happened, and he know that he had a knife, and he's going to stab a kid when they should have went fisticuffs. But instead, he decided to use a deadly weapon in a non-deadly force situation. With all of that being said, they've determined that he should be charged and be convicted of premeditated murder. Now, the defense on their end is saying that he's a much smaller guy. he was intimidated by Austin Metcalf and some of the other teammates, and that it was a spontaneous act of self-defense, which is why he should not be found guilty. But based on the totality of circumstances and the video I'm about to show you, this will prove to you how he's going to be found guilty. And after he's found guilty, I think they're going to have a little bit of sympathy for him because he's young and it was spontaneous and he shows some remorse. They're going to sentence him in a lighter way. But he will be found guilty based on what I've heard and my opinion. Anything can happen. You can have a woke white liberal on a board that just can't see herself prosecuting a black man, and then you have a hung jury. So listen to this clip of the news, and this is proof beyond a reasonable doubt, in my opinion, that they will find Karmelo Anthony guilty. Roll it.
Hi, Bill. Well, the testimony during this trial has been emotional. The jurors heard from more than a dozen students that were under the tent and saw the stabbing. Now, prosecutors straight up asked several of these witnesses, was this self-defense? And they simply answered no. So Karmelo Anthony, he is charged with murder after admitting to fatally stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in the chest during a high school track meet last year. Investigators say the confrontation started after Anthony was sitting under another school's team tent. Witnesses testified that Metcalf repeatedly asked him to leave. Jurors were shown grainy surveillance footage showing the physical confrontation lasted just seconds. Now, an 18-year-old witness who knew both Anthony and Metcalf took the stand. He testified, quote, Karmelo said, "You will have to move me." Austin put his hand on his back. I saw Karmelo's hand go in the backpack. Were to track me, I wouldn't expect anything to be in there, Karmelo said. Touch me, you'll have to move me and find out, trying to provoke him. Then what happens, the prosecutor asks. The witness says Austin put his hand on him and falls back. How was Austin trying to move him? The witness says it was him trying to move him off his seat, a soft shove. A 16-year-old witness then testified that, quote, Anthony repeated, F y'all, I'm not going to leave. He said Anthony also threatened, touch me and see what happens, while Metcalf told him, I'm not going to fight you. And then notably, this was big over the weekend, one of the defense's own witnesses during cross-examination said, quote, I think Karmelo was in the wrong. Prosecutors added, did Karmelo Anthony provoke the confrontation? The witness answered yes. Now, the state rested after calling 21 witnesses. Now the defense presenting their case. We're expected to hear from more of their witnesses today, Bill.
Wow. All right, so let's put this in perspective. You have people who are witnesses that are black. So that's going to curb this racial tension that's allegedly occurring from stew heads, not the actual rational people that's in the investigation. And you have people who are eyewitnesses saying that there was provocation from Karmelo, that Austin Metcalf had made statements like, I don't want to fight you, I'm at a track meet, like I would expect from most reasonable white boys. These dumb, let me say this, because it's not all black and white. But I have noticed, and I know this because I grew up in these environments. This black culture, it gets these young boys killed because they hold the animus against white people that they should not have. I honestly believe the reason all of this happened was because Karmelo said, I don't care, I'm going to sit under these white boys' tent and they ain't going to do nothing about it. And he went and sat under the tent. I played college football. I played football in Texas, and I ran track in Texas. You don't sit under somebody else's tent, bro. That's like, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but that's kind of like if you were playing football and your team is on this sideline, the other team on the other sideline, and a guy from the other team comes and sit down on the bench on your sideline. You're like, bro, we don't mix. It don't matter if it's raining or not. We want you to leave our tent. This is our school's tent. You're not even here. We don't go to our school. We don't even know you. Bro, you need to go to somebody else's tent. If your school don't have a tent, they ain't got nothing to do with us. And then instead of you being a reasonable person and saying, you know what, it ain't my tent, screw these guys. I ain't going nowhere. You're going to have to make me. It's because A white kid cannot say nothing to some of these black boys because they've been taught to hate white people. They've been taught to have an animus against white people. They've been taught the white man is holding you back. It's because of the white man that you don't have this. White man bad, white man bad. So you feel that if a white man say something, you starting to summon your ancestors. When this ain't nothing but you under somebody's tent. But instead, you want to fight. You want to be aggressive. White people ain't telling me nothing to do. I used to be that kid. Just being silly. And that's why I think they're going to have sympathy on him because he was just being silly. But I believe he's going to be found guilty. And let me just give you this quick synopsis, then we're going to get to Lil Boosie. Because you cannot provoke an altercation and then claim self-defense once the other person has engaged. If you are saying you got a knife at a track meet, which you're not supposed to have, then they ask you to leave the tent and you're combative and saying, I'm not going to leave the tent. That's another team's property. So you're already doing something wrong. And then once you get to the point where they go, well, we're going to move you. Well, they can physically move you with their hands. If you wanted to get into a physical altercation and you felt like you were defending yourself, you would defend yourself with hands. You don't defend a non-lethal situation with a lethal weapon. And so that's not going to, even if it was self-defense, the proportionality is off. That means that if you want to defend yourself, you throw punches. You can't say, I'm going to stab you when you're trying to throw punches or push me. All of these are deadly weapons. A gun and a knife and any sharp object is considered a deadly weapon. So this is no different in the eyes of the court if Karmelo Anthony was getting pushed and he took a gun and shot Austin Metcalf. It's no different. He used deadly force, stabbing or shooting, to engage in an altercation where there was no deadly force present or no threat of serious bodily injury or death. He's going to be found guilty, unfortunately, for his family. All right, let's get to Lil Boosie. Boosie Boo. All right, Boosie Boo getting in trouble now because he's just saying what it is. In my opinion, Boosie is the foundational morality of the black community. These new black folks are lost. In part, I grew up just like this. All this gay stuff, it was never really prominent when I was growing up. To be honest, people got made fun of. They ran around twisting and doing their hands like this, and you supposed to be a man. Back when I was growing up, you tell it like it is. You to be a man. Quit running around there swinging, switching. You would get called out in the community, you switching and being gay and stuff. Be a man. You a boy. You're supposed to be doing this and this and that. You ain't supposed to be doing that. But nowadays, you can do whatever you want to do, and they act like it's normal. All right, before we get there, I want to tell you guys about Tatum Store. Y'all killing this merch. You better get it now because it's running out fast. America's Birthday 250. This is our #1 seller right here. But we got a whole bunch of other merch that you can get that celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States of America. I am proud to be an American. And I'm proud for you guys to wear patriotic stuff. Get it from my store. We got the best product. If you somehow want to get it somewhere else, that's fine, as long as you supporting our country. But you ain't going to get nothing with the quality that we have at tatumstore.com. So go to tatumstore.com, tatumstore.com. Maybe we'll do a discount code. We don't have one now, but maybe we will do later. I don't know. We may never do it. But go on there right now and get you some merch. All right, let's get to Boosie Boo. So Lil Boosie is getting in trouble like he always do when he bucked the system, because all these new age black folks want him to be gay, and they would love for him to be a transgender rapper or something, and they may love him more than they do now. But he had extreme criticism over the Madden cover. Let's put the Madden cover on the screen. So I grew up playing Madden. I never thought I'd see the day where there was Madden 27, which is insane. However, or 2027. However, he has a problem with Caleb Williams and his display of having fingernails. This is the basic cover, which I think has no issue. But here's the cover. The deluxe is where Boosie Boo had a problem, because this shows Caleb Williams with his fingernails painted. Now, somebody wrote a comment to me and said, Brandon, he has a story. He paints his fingernails because his mama got a beauty salon and she tests her fingernail paintings on his fingernails. It ain't none of my business, to be honest. But I do think it looks stupid. And that's the only thing I don't like about Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams wasn't such a good football player, I'd be disgusted by that kid. I'd be like, I hate them fingernail paint. I think that's so stupid and gay and weird. Grown men shouldn't have their fingernail painted for no reason whatsoever. None. But ain't none of my business. I ain't his mama and them. But I don't want my kids growing up thinking they're going to paint their fingernails and do all this stuff. It's lame and stupid to me. However, since he cold, when you cold, you can do stuff, right? Dennis Rodman was super gay and weird. Dennis Rodman was a weirdo. But he was getting them rebounds, throwing them elbows, winning championships, so Dennis Rodman could paint his nails and put piercings in his nose and doing all this other stuff. Anyway, let's hear Boosie Boo. This is what Boosie had to say about it. That's why they mad. Roll it.
They got a lot of people mad at me right now in the DM. They going off in my DM. Boosie, you want to be part of the community with us? Nah, bro. I just feel like, they mad because the truth hurts, I come up under Tecmo Bowl. I never thought in a million years that I would see a Madden cover with one of the best players with his fingernails painted. A game that's sold to billions of little boys. What kind of message are they sending to these little boys? I never thought in a million years I would see this.
All right. Now, they double mad on him when he went on this show right here, and he went in. Roll the clip.
Man, you seen that Madden 27 cover?
You know I'm mad. I know you saw it.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, I'm mad. I am totally mad. I never thought I come up on Tecmo Bowl.
Ooh.
I never thought I would see this a day in my life, that a game will have a masculine man with his fingernails painted on a game that's sold to billions of little kids, billions of little boys. What are you trying to do? We gotta be honest. We have to be honest. We have to be honest. Cause you know what that gonna mean? Your little boy gonna be in your nail polish. Cause he like that boy. He like how he play football. Your little boy gonna be in the nail polish. It's not right. I don't care. I will argue, and I'm ready to argue. You know me. It's not right. It's not right. You are pushing it. That game is sold to millions of little boys. And it's us as parents to tell our children that, that ain't it. And not just the dad, it's the single mamas too. This got single mamas trying to raise them little boys up to be men. You gotta tell them that's not it. Like I said, after this, they're gonna have a Madden with what you bending over hiking, the center hiking with a thong up his ass. The center gonna be bending over hiking with a thong. He gonna be looking back to hike with lipstick on. He gonna be looking back to hike with lipstick on. And ain't nobody gonna say, this the first step. This is the first step.
This the test.
This is the tester. And ain't nobody, and I'm thinking, why ain't no OG football player saying so? That's what everybody's scared. I ain't scared. If you doing that, got all that on in the locker room, somebody should squeeze your booty every time you pay it. Somebody, bro, if you should get a whooping, you throw an interception, you should get whooped. They should turn you around and bob, you should run all over the thing. Because we are pushing this on these kids. Don't nobody else buy that but kids. Who love Madden. Madden is the biggest in the world.
That right. Yeah. That cover means something.
That cover is the biggest.
That cover means something.
They do.
That cover be on people's walls. And we gonna make that cool. Now your little boy going in your fingernail polish. I'm telling y'all. Y'all just watch it. The next one, watch they hiking. Watch the next.
So they got really mad at him over this. And Boosie is right. And this is how people used to think. I'm old school. My son, his mama got, she go get her nails done and stuff, but she got heels, she got all this stuff. And sometimes your kid get curious. They watching something on TV and they like, I want to do that. I want to be a princess. No. You're not a princess. It's for girls. No. Girls wear heels. No, you ain't wearing pink and all that because you get your kids get confused. And nowadays they think it's cute. These weird pedophiles posing as parents, they kid go, I'm a princess. And they go, oh, sweet, little Johnny, we're going to buy you the little princess thing. And Johnny twirling in the kitchen, and they pushing it. Oh, yeah, I think he's trans. What? Little Johnny just like the attention that that actor getting on TV. They ain't even a real person. That's a cartoon character. Little Johnny like the cartoon character. Little Johnny ain't got the mind, the process that this come with all kind of other stuff. This come with sex, surgeries, all this other stuff that you pushing on a kid when they 5, 6, 7, 8. Talking about they trans. Ain't no kid trans. It ain't real. Y'all pushing and manipulating these kids into that. That's like acting like a kid a murderer. Ain't no kid no murder. You've exposed them to violence. That's why your kid violent. Because down the street, that kid don't even fight people. That kid get upset and they don't fight and break their toys and punch TVs and cuss. You gotta raise your kids right. Quit pushing stuff on these kids. It's okay to tell your kid, boys don't do this. It's okay to tell your daughter, girls don't do this. You can get them to a good point. And then when they get older, if they want to do all that stuff, let them do what they want to do. They 18. Any of my boys, you want to do that? You'll never do it at my house. And then when you do it, don't think I'm gonna support that. I love you, but I ain't supporting that. And if you love me, you'll understand where I'm coming from. I'm not supporting all that gay stuff. You can have your husband and do all that. Don't come on my house doing that. I'll come to your house. I don't want that in my house. I don't want to come to your ceremonies. Don't expect me to hit the like button when y'all proposing to each other and stuff. I'm not doing that. If you need me, I got you, but I'm not pushing that stuff. I don't believe in it. The Bible says it's wrong. And that is what it is. I'm not going to treat you no way. You go live your life. But y'all, one thing that make me mad is these kids think their parents owe them something. Your parents don't owe you nothing. You should respect your parent enough not to be doing some of this stuff y'all doing. Even if you like a man on your back, man, out of respect for your daddy, how about you say, nah, I'm just not going to do that. That's just like men. I bet a whole bunch of men watching this need God and they dad in them to give them the morality to not be doing all that crazy stuff, even as a straight person. You young, you probably want to do some OnlyFans. And you probably make a lot of money doing OnlyFans. But out of respect for your mama and your daddy, you can't get on no camera with your stuff out where people can share it and watch it all over the world. Have some respect for your parents. And I think the same thing with this gay and trans stuff. Yeah, you may want gay, but look at your daddy and can you look your daddy in the eye and say, I'm going to make you proud by being gay and I got another man on my back every night. That ain't going to make your daddy proud. So how about you say, hey, look, I may be interested in that, but I'm not going to do that because I love my parents. And I respect them. I ain't going to disappoint them, so I'm going to do this. And some of y'all, I can feel the heat on the thing. Some of y'all being like, we ain't got to live the life our parents. That's what's wrong with some of y'all today. Now, if your parents ain't nobody and they trash and they didn't raise you right, they don't love you and they treated you, they gave you up or something like that, it's different. But if your parents loved you and was dedicated to you, maybe you should go to them and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing what you think. And your parents say, I'll be disappointed in that. And you go, you know what? I don't want to disappoint my parents. Let me go get some help and let me get my life together. If I wasn't a Christian and I was living in that world, I'd never do no OnlyFans or nothing because my parents. It ain't got nothing to do with Christian. I don't want my mom and them having to go tell their friends, what your son do? He doing adult entertainment and stuff. That's embarrassing. All right. Where we at? Cam Newton said something that I thought was interesting. Let's play that real quick, and we got to get to some other stories. Roll it.
Nowadays, we have so many different examples of players expressing themselves by way of fashion, tattoos, hairstyles. It's not for me to say, who the hell does Caleb Williams think he is, more so than just respecting it. Times have changed. Anybody that's
we got his point. I disagree with him. Listen, man, I don't like it, and I say I don't like it till I'm dead. All right, let's get to, we got Boosie pool party. Boosie got in trouble over this pool party. But let me get to this HelloFresh thing first. We may circle back to the pool party or do it tomorrow. Let me get the HelloFresh. This is the most ridiculous post that I've ever seen in my life. This is the most degenerate, the most sickening, the most evil post that I've ever seen when it comes to a business trying to be inclusive. Do you know how nasty this is right here? Let me read it to you so you can understand what I'm saying. We know eating isn't always a top priority this month. Think about this, a food company. We used to order this HelloFresh. Wife used to whip it up in the kitchen. We thought HelloFresh was a good idea. I never order this sugar honey iced tea again. We know listen, we know eating isn't a priority. Put it on the thing. We know eating isn't always a top priority this month. Why would a food company say we know eating isn't a priority? I'm going to tell you why. I'm finna get raw and uncut. Your kids watching, take them out the screen. You know why they say people ain't eating? Because when you eat, you got a boo-boo. And these people trying to reference men doing this with other men. This is what they referencing. Listen, we respect that. But for those of you who are prepping for what? Prepping for some other man to be on your back. We have an extensive lineup, extensive lineup of high fiber recipes available. Why is that, Matt, high fiber? Because somebody was telling me how this worked. I guess you need high fiber for your bowels to move. And they got a thing called prepping in the gay community where I guess you eat certain stuff or you clean your booty hole out. So another man can be doing that in there. God made it a one-way street. And y'all trying to turn that thing into a freeway. That's nasty. And a food company talking about that is even crazier. They got other people comment on this. Look, discount code bottoms up. If you know anything about the community, a bottom is the dude that's on a bottom. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be too graphic, but there's one on the top. He on top of the man on the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And so they are referencing that in their discount code. Grindr, which is a gay male porn site, or whatever it is. I think it's dating. It's still the same thing. It's like, what's that swipe one? Tinder. They swiping just to be hidden. That's all it is. They swiping the hookup. So you might as well be pornography. But somehow you pay a subscription and you don't go to jail over this stuff. But if you went to a hotel room and did it, you go to jail. It's all wrong, but y'all get what I'm saying. Grindr even commented. Then this person over here, let's go to this one. This person over here said fiber is such a mystery because it helps people get their gut in order and also helps people get their gut rearranged. Do you know what they saying when they say gut rearranged? We adults. That's called penetration. That means that they doing that and they booty hole falling out. What is it called when the booty fall out? Prolapse. Why don't HelloFresh, somebody asked them, do y'all have a prolapse diet? When you're doing all that nasty stuff and your booty don't work no more, they got people on colostomy bags. I'm probably saying it wrong. Because their butt don't work. They got to sew their booty up and do all that stuff. That's nasty. It's nasty. It's nasty. And why would a food company be pushing this? Let me just say this. Imagine if a straight company did this. And y'all talking about sex positions and somebody doggy style and all this old crazy stuff that they saying on their food. People be outraged. They'll be so outraged that we would never hear the end of it. How dare these people? They get banned, but when you gay, you can do stuff like this. It's crazy to me, man. What does society come to that we talking about anal sex in a food network that's supposed to be giving you food, and they talking about they prep you to be doing sex? I thought pride was about just loving somebody. But see, we know the truth about the Pride Month. And I told my wife this, and she disagreed with me a little bit. I said, I bet gay people, like people that actually live a gay lifestyle, are embarrassed by this. It's one of those things where gay people are like, why y'all gotta reduce the community down to sex and debauchery? I don't think most gay people really buying this. I think most people who are gay, even though I don't agree with the lifestyle, they just trying to live their life, man. They just love who they love. Man, love who you love. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Y'all ain't in my house. I'm not feeding nobody. Y'all not prepping in my house. I don't care what you do. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Like I'm gonna make more money because you doing what you doing. I ain't got nothing to do. I don't even know y'all. So it ain't really got nothing to do with me. But at the end of the day, quit pushing it on other people. People shouldn't have to be hearing about this. Show me another holiday or another month celebration where to celebrate a culture or to celebrate a group of people, you got to talk about sex and debauchery. Like, I don't believe people should be doing their Pride Month stuff anyway. But if you're going to do it, how about you talk about love. Talk about people being normal. You know what I mean? Not what they doing in the bedroom. It's almost like we have a straight Pride Month and let's talk about sex positions and y'all know what I'm talking about. Running a 2-man, or a 3-man. I don't know what some of y'all need Jesus. So y'all doing 2-man and 3-mans and y'all swinging. I remember how I was living in Anthem and there was these blue lights. I thought it was Back to Blue. I said, dang, so a lot of people love police officers in this community. I thought they were Back in the Blue. They had blue lights in their thing. Somebody said, no, they're swingers. So you know that they swinging at their residence. So they put a blue light in the patio or something. I said, God help me. What are y'all doing? All right. What is the other dating coach? Oh, that's the other clips that these people are doing. I think I done said enough. Y'all know it's bad. It's terrible. Cancel your HelloFresh. I mean, you ain't got to do nothing. I don't know. I would cancel it. I don't want any company come out and do this. I won't work with you. Y'all doing too much. You embarrassing people. You're dumb. All right, let's go to the dummy of the day, and I think I'll be finished.
Huh? You can't be this dumb.
All right, dummy of the day is this basketball player. Y'all can't even dunk. And I didn't watch highlight tapes of women's basketball. And Sophie Cunningham and what's her name? Caitlin Clark are the only women I watch. The rest of them, I don't know. I seen y'all missing layups and stuff. I'm like, this is Dunbar High School in 05 03 would have swept every WNBA team. I think so. But Sophie Cunningham is my girl, and Caitlin Clark is my girl. I like them. I like Sophie the best. She the coolest. Caitlin Clark, she a baller. I see her hitting threes from half court, easy. So shout out to them. But these ones, dressing like they daddy and stuff, coming to the game, averaging 4 points a game. Girl, you better shut up and don't make a comment about nothing. That's like a dude playing on a practice squad trying to be the face of the NFL. Bro, you're not even on the team. You ain't scoring points or nothing. You're the quarterback on the practice squad. Can't even throw a touchdown in practice. And you want to talk about, all right, roll the clip. This is what she got to say. Roll it.
Taking offense to the league's potential decision to wear USA 250 patches during All-Star Weekend in late July, saying on X, quote, whoever called for the WNBA All-Star uniforms to have the USA 250 patch should have thought that through, considering no WNBA players would have been free 250 years ago. The majority wouldn't even have their freedom 100 years ago. The WNBA responding, saying, quote, like other major sports leagues, we are exploring how best to commemorate the country's 250th anniversary. Nothing has been finalized at this time. Those are your headlines, guys. Back over to you.
Another reason not to watch the WNBA.
So I was looking at her points per game. Apparently it's 4 points per game.
Right, she's not going to be in the All-Star game?
I mean, like you should be worried about your state of play. I'm not sure this is a voice that speaks for the entire league right
also,
now.
it's our history. And, women couldn't vote 200 years ago. So should I just not celebrate America 250?
Absolutely not.
All right, let me jump in here real quick. I got a couple minutes left for the show. Lord, have mercy on these people. I don't know how you can be this silly. For you to say I don't know why y'all want to celebrate 250 years. Women couldn't even vote. Hey, there was no WNBA either. So what are you saying? And then you got to think about it. Well, white people couldn't vote either. If you did not own property, you were not eligible to vote. Way back in the day when the country was founded. What are you talking about? What are y'all talking about? What history? But y'all always got to be a victim. And y'all always got to bite the hand that feeds you. We live in the greatest country on planet Earth. You go show me where somebody doing it like we doing it over here, and I will pay for you to live there. Your first year, I'll get you an apartment and everything. You ain't never going to go nowhere like America. Never, ever, ever. You sorry son of a gun. I'm sick of y'all playing the victim. This is the greatest country on earth. The reason you free, stupid, is because of this country. Somebody had to die for this stuff. Oh, man, you know, I'm not going to work for Amazon because Amazon 100 years ago didn't do that. But Amazon take care of you today. You ain't got nothing to do with that. You wasn't alive 250 years ago. You ain't got nothing to do with that. You reaping the benefits of people before you who struggled. What are you talking about? And to be honest, let me not say that. Y'all, ain't nobody watching y'all anyway. You ain't even playing, girl. You averaging 4 points a game. I get a WNBA right now and average more than 4 points a game. Come on, I put my whole career on that. I get in there and average 4 and 4. Y'all just be throwing it up anyway, throwing up prayers, hoping to go in the written and go. Only Caitlin Clark is the one hitting them with precision. Anyway, I get mad, y'all. Don't blame me, man. I love my country, man. I love America. I understand the sacrifices that have been made in this country so we can get to this point. It ain't always, nothing starts perfect, but it's the striving to perfection is what I love about this country. And we have accomplished dang near perfection. There's nowhere in the world with the diversity we have in America. There's nowhere in the world you can come over here with a penny in your pocket and become a multi-billionaire. There's nowhere in the world where you get to do and say and be free to have commentary and be online being stupid and hate your country. There ain't nowhere in the world you can do that and still have the benefits that you have in the United States of America. And it's always these ignorant Negroes that always got a problem. Learn your history, you stewhead. This country has been great to black people. It started out rough. I get it. But them people didn't get beat for nothing. Did they get beat for nothing? Some of our ancestors got beat. Some of our ancestors were doing the beating. Learn your history. I took Africana Studies in college. That's a study of African history and African American history. Black people owned slaves. What are you saying? The first legal slave owner in the United States, in the world, in the history of this country, was a black man named Anthony Johnson. What are y'all stupid? Hundreds of black people own black slaves. Are y'all stupid? Do your research, bruh. Yeah, black people had it harder. Black people were enslaved more because it was cheap labor. That's the reason why they went to the continent of Africa. Do you know who gave the white folk these black people did? You were a slave in Africa first. Your own people put you in chains and sold you to the white man, knowing that half of y'all wasn't gonna make it across the ocean. They didn't give a about you. They sold y'all for goods and firearms, all kind of stuff. Gunpowder. They sold y'all Negroes off and knew y'all were dying. They don't care. I don't understand, man. I'm finna shut up in a minute because I gotta go. I don't understand how people still talking that stupid stuff about America. And y'all just lying every step of the way. Yeah, it wasn't always easy for black people. It wasn't always easy for white people either. Y'all acting like the plantation was a whole bunch of white people kumbayaing with the Negroes out there getting beat in the street. No, white people were poor and struggling. You had to have money to have a slave. You had to have money to have plantation slaves. You had to have money to have a slave in your house. It's no different in today. How many people got cattle? How many people got 100 heads of cattle out of the farm somewhere? You got to have money to have all that cattle. How many of y'all got a person working in your house? You got to have money to have somebody cleaning your dishes and doing all that stuff. You can't. The average person ain't living like that. It's the same thing that happened in slavery. The average person can go auction for a human being. I'm not saying it was right or not. What I'm saying is that the average person, that wasn't the experience of most people who lived during that time. Most of these white people had to work. They had to go pick cotton. They had to pick their crops. Most of them didn't have nothing to do with slavery. It's like 6% or less of white people in the South owned slaves. The rest of the people had nothing to do with it. There was no slavery in the North. But yet we still, I want to say the B word, we still being and complaining. We still complaining about this stuff, man. Get your head out of your rear end. God, they talking about working for the white. Yo, coach white. Quit the team then. Quit the team. Since the white man's so bad to you in this country, go quit your team. Yo, coach white and the owner of the team white. And all your players in your team white. Let me say this, y'all, and I'm going to shut up. This is the part that bothers me the most, man. When I played football, and I went to the University of Arizona, because when I went to Dunbar High School, it was all black. There were no white people. It was a couple white coaches. But the team would, I went to university, white folks, white teammates. I loved and respected my teammates like I did anybody else. There was no difference between us. And it made me mad for black people to walk around and think they better than they white teammates. Neither one of us was alive during slavery and oppression and Jim Crow. Why y'all got to keep pushing that on these people? White people ain't got nothing to do. White people today ain't got nothing to do with slavery. Why y'all putting it on these people? That's like if your mama and them or your great uncle was a serial killer and people putting that on you. You're like, man, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I wasn't even alive when that dude was doing that. Your cousin then went to prison. So you should be judged. Nah, I ain't judged on that. I ain't had nothing to do with that. Anyway, send this to one of your black friends that's still stupid. Maybe they'll wake up or be mad at you, and then you'll know they ain't really your friend in the first place. Grant, hold on. Let me do this real quick. Give me 2 minutes, and then we're going to do post-show clarity. 2 minutes, and I'm going to shut up. If a black person that's in your life, I'm talking to my white friends out here, and they guilting you and still talking about oppression, and they ain't your friends. They ain't your friends. They don't love you. They don't care about you. They're going to turn on you. Because the moment that a conflict happens, they're going to pick a black side and they're going to throw you under the bus. Any black friend that you have that's talking about Black Lives Matter and telling you should be reparations and white people are bad for what they did to black people, if they have the audacity to tell you something stupid like that, they ain't really your friends. My wife had a couple friends that were black girls. Yo, when all this stuff happened, they gonna turn on you. Oh, you realize they ain't never really liked you in the first place. See, deep down inside, it's like the Muslim. You find that the Muslim believe you're an infidel the whole time. And they can't wait to take over so they can kill you. It's the same thing with some of these black people. They can't wait for a Karmelo Anthony situation and they gonna turn on you because they secretly hated you the whole time. They think they better than you. They hate you. They hate everything about you. Behind your back, they talking bad about you. And you know, let you, if you a girl, let you date a black man. They'll smile in your face behind your back. They talking bad about you. Oh, she thinks she black. She thinks she got her black man. He confused. He doing that. Don't be friends with these type black people. Be friends with the black people that's normal. That love America just like you do. And if you don't love America, quit watching me. All right. Love you. Bye.